Hey, update! Because I'm crazy and enjoy a good adventure, I went to Portugal for one night and one day. I'm pretty sure I spent more time in the bus than I did at any of the places I'll mention in this video, but that's because I made the perilous decision to walk everywhere. One I would regret later. To start our journey off, I left on a Thursday afternoon and got on a bus to Vigo. Then I had a connection that would take me all the way to Porto. And it would have, if I had known Portuguese and not gotten off at the first station we stopped at. I ended up in Bragas, which was technically still Portugal, but my hostel was booked in Porto, so I spent an hour in Bragas, then got the first bus to Porto. I walked 45 minutes to get to my hostel because it was not close to the bus station, and I was determined not to spend money on public transportation. Again, a choice I will regret later. So, after making it to my hostel, I decided to go back out and get a beer, since I had traveled all that way. Superbock sucks. 3 out of 10, it tasted like water. It made me long for the Estrella Galicia I had been drinking up to that point. This next part, I only have one picture, and it is of Pete. That's not really his name. He is a guy from Italy who was staying in the same hostel and asked if I wanted to go to a dance class. Me, being me, said yes, never mind stranger danger. That class lasted at least 3 hours, and we were late getting there. The folk dancing was lots of fun, but once more, 3 hours of dancing was something I would come to regret. The next morning, I had a pastel de nata and a coffee, my favorite breakfast yet, 10 out of 10. Then I started my long walk to the beach. There was an open market, but we will come back to that. I walked through the city past beautiful towers and architecture, but I didn't stop. No, I had to get to the beach. I walked down about 20 flights of stairs. This I would also come to regret later. I walked the bridge to cross the Douro River, I hope I said that right, and walked along their boardwalk. It was really pretty, there were a lot of boats, and I saw a lot of old people fishing. It was a neat town. Then I came across this statue that's supposed to represent America, and I thought it was funny. But I wanted to get to the beach, so I kept walking and telling myself that the views made it worth it no matter how tired I was feeling, which worked for way longer than maybe it should have. So enjoy these, because each of these videos is representative of how long I spent walking to get to the beach. At some point, I started seeing sand on my path and took that as a sign that I was close. By close, I was still 20 minutes away from my final destination, but on the bright side, I got to see wild flamingos, which was pretty cool. I finally made it to the beach. I'm smug here because people told me it was a bad idea to walk. The water was just as cold as people had warned me it would be, but I found a lot of rocks on the beach, so I was pretty happy. I stopped at the nature reserve nearby, but didn't see any of the birds on the sign, so I started my journey back to the bus station by, you guessed it, walking. I planned to stop at a wine museum on my way back, but the siren call of ABBA drew me towards the Bom Dia winery. I got a full tour of their cellar and a wine tasting for 10 euros. Then, because time was starting to look like a problem, I rushed to get back to the bus station. Remember the stairs? I didn't. Then I took a walk in the park because, why not? Remember the market? Well, I did. I remembered passing a stall that morning that had a port tasting, and because I was a little drunk and definitely thirsty after climbing up 20 flights of stairs, I decided that a cheaper port tasting was the best course of action. Note to self, cheap port tastes worse, but is more alcoholic. I made it to the bus station, only to realize I forgot about the time change in all of my plans, and left to go get myself some lunch finally. And then I got on my bus. To recap, this is how much I walked on Friday. 42 kilometers is a marathon. It's a miracle I survived this trip. Moral of the story: use public transport.